I want you to imagine something for a moment. Imagine you are in a house that is on fire. Inside that house are the people you love, the memories you have built, and the history of your ancestors. You are screaming for help, you are screaming with everything in your lungs. But there is a problem. The people outside the house, the people with the water, the people with the power to put out the flames, they don't understand your language. To them, your screams are just noise. Your pain is unintelligible. Your crisis is a local issue that doesn't translate. That is what it feels like to be from Manipur in this age. My mother tongue is Meiteilon. It is the language of my cradle. It is the language in which I first learned the word for mother Ima. It is a language of poetry, of ancient manuscripts, and of culture that has been survived for millennia in the lush green valleys and the rock hills of the northeast. When I speak Manipuri, my soul is at rest. But when I turn on this camera, I make a conscious, difficult, and sometimes painful choice. I choose to speak English. Today, I want to tell you why. This isn't a video about linguistics. This is a video about information war. It is about why I, a person who is not an expert in the English language, have decided to step up and use this global lingua franca to tell the story of my people. Because in 2026, if you are not heard, you don't exist. And right now, the world is letting Manipur slip into the shadows of silence. Our Manipuri language is beautiful, but it is small in terms of global reach. We are a community of roughly 3 million speakers. We are barely heard in this huge world. Whenever something happens in Manipur, whether it is an ethnic clash, a constitutional crisis, or a human rights violation, we talk to each other. We talk on our local news channels, we talk in our community halls, and we bend our frustration in our mother tongue. But here is the tragedy. We are shouting in a locked room. The national media in New Delhi, they don't speak Meiteilon. The international correspondents in London or New York, they definitely don't speak Meiteilon. When we speak only to ourselves, the national subconscious of India remain untouched. To the mainstream media, Manipur is often just a troubled frontier or a disturbed area that is too complex to explain. Because it is too complex, they choose to ignore it. I have watched for years as our issues are simplified, misinterpreted, or completely blacked out by the national broadcasters. I have seen news anchors who can't even point to Imphal on a map try to explain our history. And because we are not out there in a global town square speaking the language they understand, their narratives becomes the truth. I realize that if I keep making videos in Manipuri, I am just comforting my own people. But my people don't need more comfort. They need justice, and justice requires an audience. It requires the eyes of the world. It requires me to take this tool, the English language, and use it as a bridge. Now I know. I know what some of you might be thinking. You might hear my accent, you might spot a grammatical error here or there. I am first to admit, I am not an expert in English. I didn't study at Oxford. I didn't grow up in a household where English was the first primary tongue. But I want to tell you something very important about the age we live in. We are waiting for experts to save us, but the experts are often silent. We are waiting for the intellectuals to represent us, but they are often caught in academic circles that never reach the common man. I waited for a long time. I waited for someone with a perfect accent and a silver tongue to step up and tell the world what is happening in our hills and valley. I waited for the national media to finally send a dedicated team to understand our nuances. I waited for the big voices to care, but nobody stepped up. And that is a terrifying realization. When you look around and see the truth is being buried because no one is willing to speak the language of the outside world, you have two choices. You stay silent and watch your culture fade, or you pick up the megaphone, however heavy and awkward it feels, and you start talking. I am doing this because someone has to do it. I'm not doing this because I love English more than Manipuri. I am doing this because I love Manipur too much to let it be silenced. I am a reluctant orator. I am a person who would much rather be sitting at the coffee culture in Whitehall, joking with my friends in Meiteilon, but the urgency of our situation has forced me into this role. This is my duty. This is my contribution to the survival of my people. We must understand that we are living in the era of information war. In the 19th century, wars were fought over land. In the 20th century, they were fought over resources. In 21st century, wars are fought over narratives. Language is the primary weapon in this war. How a story is framed determines who is the victim and who is the aggressor. How an issue is described in the English language press determines whether the United Nations takes notice or whether the central government feels pressure to act. If we only speak our native language, we are invisible to the algorithm of the world. Google, YouTube, Twitter, and the global news aggregators, they prioritize English. When a researcher in Europe or a student in Bangalore search for money, what do they find? They find what has been written in English. If we don't provide the content, if we don't provide the primary source in a language they can search for, then the void is filled by people who have never stepped foot on our soil. It is filled by experts who have an agenda. It is filled by propaganda. By speaking English, I am participating in narrative reclamation. I am taking the story of Manipur back from the outsiders. I am saying, don't listen to them. Listen to us. This is our voice in your language telling you our truth. This is strategic. This is about making sure that when the history of this decade is written, it isn't just written by people who ignore us, but by the people who live it. Language shapes how we think. It shapes how we see the world, but it also shapes how the world sees us. When I speak English, I'm not just translating words. I'm translating a reality. I'm trying to explain the concept of Imale Merensidabi to someone who has never heard of it. I'm trying to explain why our territorial integrity is not just a political point, but a spiritual one. I see this tension as a bridge. On one side of the bridge is the rich, complex, and often misunderstood reality of Manipur. On the other side is the global audience, the millions of people in India and abroad who actually want to care, but simply don't have the information. If I can raise just one person in a position of influence, or one student who will one day become a policymaker, or one journalist who will decide to look deeper into our issues, then every struggle I have with this language is worth it. We cannot afford to be an island anymore. The Chickle Snake Corridor isn't just a geographical bottleneck, it is a linguistic one. We have been trapped behind a wall of language for too long. My goal is to break that wall down. I want to bring the voice of Manipur into the national subconscious of India. I want the people in Kerala, Punjab, and Maharashtra to feel the pain of Manipur as if it were their own. And to do that, I have to meet them halfway. I have to speak the language that connects us all. I want to end this by speaking to my fellow Manipuris first. And do not think that for a second that I am abandoning our mother tongue. Our language is our identity. It is the vessels of our history. Keep speaking at home, keep writing poetry in it, keep teaching it to your children with pride. Our native language is for our heart. But English is for our survival. To my national and international audience, I'm here because I have to be. I'm here because my home is hurting and the silence from the mainstream is deafening. I'm here to tell you that Manipur is not just a headline. It is a land of vibrant, intelligent, and resilient people who deserve to be heard. I'm stepping up because someone has to. I'm using this language because it is the only way to ensure that the flames of Manipur is never extinguished by the cold winds of indifference. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being part of this bridge. If you believe that the voice of marginalized should be heard, then I ask you to share this. Help me make this whisper a roar. Help me reach those deaf ears in Delhi. If you truly want to support, please subscribe to my channel, leave a comment below, and like the video. Your engagement will help boost the video in the YouTube algorithm and allow it to reach a wider audience. I'm Maibam. This is the voice of Manipur. I'm just getting started. Thank you.